There once lived a kind farmer with his wife and two sons. The elder son, Thomas, was known for his laziness. He preferred to idle his time away, basking in the sun or indulging in frivolous activities. Thomas scoffed at the idea of hard work, believing it to be beneath him. On the other hand, the younger son, David, was a diligent and hardworking boy. He understood the value of effort and was always willing to lend a helping hand to his father on the farm. David was eager to learn and possessed a thirst for knowledge that set him apart from his brother. The stark contrast between the two brothers was evident in their daily lives. While Thomas wasted his days in idleness, David diligently tended to the fields alongside his father. The sun would rise and set, finding Thomas in the same state of indolence, while David's brow would be streaked with sweat from a hard day's work. The differences in their characters were as clear as day and night. The farmer, a man of simple means but strong principles, loved both his sons equally. However, he couldn't help but worry about the path Thomas was choosing for himself. The farmer believed that education was the key to a successful and fulfilling life. He had toiled tirelessly on his farm to provide for his family, but he didn't want his sons to follow in his footsteps. He yearned for them to have better opportunities that education could provide. One evening, as the sun began its descent, casting long shadows across the farm, the farmer called his sons together. He sat them down and, with a heavy heart, shared his concerns. He emphasized the importance of education, stressing that it was the most valuable inheritance he could offer them. He implored them to take their studies seriously, for it was their education that would determine the course of their lives. The farmer reminded them that life was unpredictable and full of challenges. He warned them that laziness and ignorance would only make their journey more difficult. He urged them to embrace knowledge as a weapon against poverty and a tool for self-improvement. He spoke with such conviction and sincerity that even Thomas, for a brief moment, felt a flicker of something akin to motivation stir within him. However, Thomas's fleeting moment of inspiration was quickly extinguished by his deep-seated aversion to hard work. He dismissed his father's words as the ramblings of an old man stuck in his ways. He couldn't fathom why he should waste his time on books and studies when he could be enjoying himself. In his mind, there were far more pleasurable ways to spend his time than toiling away at a desk. As the years passed, Thomas's laziness only intensified. He became a source of constant worry for his parents, who despaired at his lack of ambition and direction. He showed no interest in his studies and would often skip school to spend time with his friends, engaging in frivolous pursuits. His days were spent in a haze of idleness, and he seemed content to drift through life without any purpose or goals. David, on the other hand, flourished under his father's guidance. He excelled in his studies, proving to be a bright and eager student. He understood the sacrifices his father was making to provide him with an education, and he was determined to make the most of the opportunity. David's hard work and dedication were a source of pride for his parents, who saw in him the potential for a bright future. The farmer, observing the stark contrast between his sons, couldn't help but feel a pang of disappointment. He had tried his best to instill in Thomas the importance of education, but his efforts had been met with indifference and even contempt. Despite his best efforts, Thomas seemed determined to follow a path of idleness and mediocrity. Section 4. A Glimmer of Hope. Realizing that his words were falling on deaf ears, the farmer decided to focus his attention on David. He saw in his younger son a willingness to learn and a thirst for knowledge that reminded him of his younger self. The farmer poured all his hopes and dreams into David, providing him with all the support and encouragement he needed to succeed. David, in turn, cherished his father's guidance and made the most of the opportunities presented to him. He excelled in his studies, consistently ranking among the top students in his class. He devoured books with an insatiable appetite for knowledge, his mind eager to absorb new information. He saw education as a way to break free from the cycle of poverty that had plagued his family for generations. The farmer, despite his disappointment with Thomas's choices, never gave up hope. He continued to encourage his elder son, albeit with a heavy heart, hoping that one day he would see the error of his ways. However, Thomas remained indifferent to his father's pleas, choosing instead to live a life of ease and indolence. Section 5. The Price of Regret. As fate would have it, the farmer fell ill and passed away, leaving behind a void in the lives of his family. David, grief-stricken but resolute, continued his studies with even greater determination, honoring his father's memory through his pursuit of knowledge. He knew that his father would have wanted him to succeed, and he was determined to make his father proud. Thomas, on the other hand, was overcome with a profound sense of regret and remorse. As he stood by his father's grave, he realized the true extent of his loss. He had taken his father's love and sacrifices for granted, squandering the opportunities that had been presented to him. The weight of his past mistakes pressed down on him, suffocating him with guilt and shame. With his father gone, Thomas was forced to face the consequences of his actions. He had no education, no skills, and no means to support himself. He was forced to take on menial jobs, his back aching from the unfamiliar burden of manual labor. He had always believed that hard work was beneath him, but now he found himself trapped in a cycle of poverty and despair. Section 6. Lessons learned. David, armed with a good education and a strong work ethic, secured a respectable job that allowed him to provide for himself and his mother. He never forgot his roots, often visiting his mother and helping her on the farm. He had achieved the success that his father had always dreamed of for his sons, proving that hard work and dedication were the true paths to a fulfilling life. As the years turned into decades, Thomas watched with a mixture of envy and admiration as his younger brother thrived. He realized that the path he had chosen, the path of least resistance, had led him to a life of regret and unfulfilled potential. He had squandered his opportunities, choosing fleeting pleasures over lasting rewards. The story of Thomas and David serves as a timeless reminder that the choices we make in life have far-reaching consequences. It highlights the importance of heeding the wisdom of our elders, for they have often walked the path we are about to embark on. Most importantly, it teaches us that hard work, determination, and a thirst for knowledge are the cornerstones of a fulfilling and meaningful life.